Hello and welcome to What That Means Is. Thank you for joining us again today. This is Series 2, Episode 8 of our show. And for those of you who haven't watched this before, what we do is we come together and we start dissecting facts, figures, statistics. We just start asking questions about the state of the world, what's been going on, why, what our opinions are. But more than anything, we base any opinions that we might have on stats and figures, that kind of thing, before we start talking. So today, though, is a little different. We have a guest with us today. His name is Jason Garrett. And Chris Riddell and Jason have known each other for many years.
Over
30 plus years, you were saying, yeah. And so we want to interview Jason today. He is a retired police officer, Winnipeg police officer.
That's correct.
And so we're so grateful that you're here. Thank you for coming all the way to our studio. Appreciate that. And so because Chris has a lot of knowledge of the police force, because you yourself were a policeman, and a lot of knowledge of, Jason. You guys have been friends for years. He's got a lot of really good questions to ask. We want to find out from Jason how things were for him, how things were for you, Jason, through this whole COVID situation, pandemic, and what transpired for you. So, Chris, she's all yours.
Thanks, Rosalie. Welcome, Jason. Thanks for coming in today.
Thanks for having me.
Good to see you. I guess just want to start out, we'll get you a little background here. So what made you decide to be a police officer anyway? So there's a lot
Personally,
of
I think
anyway.
it's a calling. I think it starts, I always tell people I was a school patrol back when I was 6 or 7 years old.
Yeah.
Started that way. And both my parents worked for the city of Winnipeg. And I got involved in the aquatics program. I was an active swimmer. And I became a lifeguard, started lifeguarding and teaching swimming at 15 or 16 years old.
Yeah.
And followed through with that and became a police officer at 20. Took criminology at Red River and just continued with that lifestyle, I guess, the helping professions, right?
Okay. So how many years were you when you finally retired? How many years did you
I retired last April and I was just coming up to 34 years.
Okay.
34 years.
And what rank were you when you retired?
Patrol sergeant or street supervisor.
So that's one bump from constable?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Brought you in here basically, I wanted to kind of hear your story about your experience once, I guess it would have been the late winter of 2020 when the whole COVID pandemic began, and how that affected you on the job and where you were working at the time and how it went.
Right.
From there, if you just want to.
At the time, I was I had done 28 years of general patrol on the street, and circumstances brought me inside. I was working at a headquarters at that time. I was in building services actually, and I got transferred into document services. So I was working with the commissionaires that serve witness subpoenas and that to witnesses. And it was a very difficult time, I think, for everybody. This is unprecedented. We've never, I remember when the pandemic started and we were all living in that fear of what's happening. I remember reaching out to my kids and I basically said to them as a dad, I said, never faced anything like this, but I can tell you that we're all healthy.
Yeah.
And I can guarantee two things. We're going to get it and we're going to be okay. And that's kind of where it was at.
Did you have any, what was your did you have personal fear, or was it more fear for society or your job? What was your instinct? What was your instinctual response to it?
That we were going to be okay.
Yeah.
That this wasn't, it was being blown out of proportion.
You knew that.
Whatever. I knew that right away.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they started to push this vaccine, I was like, no, this doesn't make sense to me.
So
it was just an inner, I just knew everything was telling me, like, not to get it. Just stay away from it.
So from the time that we all heard about this pandemic,
right,
and it was global overnight.
Yep.
Where were you working, and did you first hear about it from the media, as most of us did, or did you hear about it from some internal?
Well, there was a lot of internal stuff coming around as well.
Yeah.
And I know one of the big things for me was because I wasn't on the street at the time, but I still had lots of contacts there. I said, okay, if this COVID is so bad, I wanted to monitor and see what was happening.
Yeah.
Winnipeg has a huge percentage of street people, the people that are not healthy, not eating well, terrible living conditions. And I was waiting to see. I said, okay, if this is as bad as it is, these people should be dropping like flies.
This would be the canary in the coal mine.
Exactly. Right? Yeah. And this was not happening. I would check with guys regularly. Okay, what's happening out there? And meth was a bigger problem for us than COVID. Yeah. Right. So that was one of the
and
the
still
things
is,
for
by
me.
the way.
Yes, absolutely. Well, and the worst stuff that they're bringing out, right?
Legalizing.
Yeah.
So when you first heard from the department that this is happening and this is going to go on,
You're aging yourself. It's a service, Chris.
I'll stand by my age. I'm happy to be here as an old fart.
He's
And,
happy to be alive.
yeah, happy to be breathing. And how did you, when you saw documents or communications from the department, do you think that gave this thing more credibility?
I think it added.
Do you know what I mean? It would
fuel
add
to the fear. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Fuel to it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It just kept building on its own. And one of the things was, I remember when they came in with the first mandates from the city Winnipeg, the police service was actually exempt. We didn't have to.
Exempt from what?
From the masking and the vaccine policies. Okay. And I was like, wow, okay, so
That makes
our
sense.
chief at the time, I thought, okay, this is an opportunity for us, because we're frontline people. We go out there and to give us that opportunity. Well, right away, our service came up with its own policy or mandate following the city when we didn't have to. It was an option.
Can I just ask, what was the sort of vibe or the feeling among the officers when all of this was starting to unfold?
Well, simultaneously, everybody's got their personal opinions about health records and what can be said and what can't be said. And when I became a supervisor, HR puts you through this big training program, okay? And part of it is, if you call in sick and I'm your supervisor, I can't even ask you, are you okay? Do you have the cold or flu? I can't even ask you what the reason is. It goes against
Personal information.
Yes. But yet they can ask us about our vaccine status, right?
Yeah.
And that's when they actually, they put out an email to us saying that we would have to make a declaration about our vaccine status. And I waited, of course, right till the 11th hour, and I responded and I said, the only declaration I'm making is you don't have the lawful right to even ask me.
Now, it's interesting you're telling me now that as a supervisor, you couldn't even ask the guy. You couldn't even call him if he books off sick.
I could, and actually, because I always have a good rapport with my guys and girls, right?
Yeah.
Even if they were off on an extended leave, I couldn't pick up the phone and say, "Hey, are you okay?"
Oh, really?
Like, is there something I should need to know? But do you need something?
So
right?
that even breaks privacy.
Yeah, you have to really balance.
Wow.
Now, if I was in a situation where I knew them personally, I would reach out personally on a text or something and say, "Just want to know, is everything okay?"
Yeah.
Concerned about you, not from a service
Professional
standpoint, right?
So in comparison, when I started on the job in 1980, if I called in and said I was sick, they will ask me to tell them what I have. So, and then the patrol sergeant, which you were, would actually come to my house and check on me. A lot of trust there, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I had that happen to myself
and that was all
personally,
allowed.
Yes.
So people are saying, well, guys would phone in, and the sergeant would say, "Well, what do you got?" And the officer would say, "Well, you name the disease, I'll be at home faking it." Like it was so it was so ridiculous,
Right.
that people were just playing with it. So it was crazy. But so what year would those changes have been made, where you couldn't ask, you couldn't even call the person?
Yeah, well, I got promoted in 2017, so they were already.
Oh, okay.
Well, I know from
teaching
from
that.
real estate, when I was still in real estate, I think it was 2007 that the whole Privacy Act came in. We had
That's
a whole
right.
bunch of different forms to sign.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was something. What a change. Okay. So then, where'd it go from there?
Well, once I made that declaration that I wasn't declaring anything, they automatically deemed that you were unvaccinated.
Yeah.
Right.
There was an assumption.
Yes. Now you're into that pot.
Okay.
You're over here now.
Yeah.
And then we were told that, okay, if we weren't going to vaccinate and do this, we were going to be dealt with. And all of a sudden we get an email saying that, okay, you have been suspended and put on unpaid non-disciplinary leave.
Just by an email.
Yeah. And that as of November the 15th, the date that we had to declare this by, we were technically, you're dismissed, right? And
so you were the only one that decided not to do that?
Well, and you know, that was part of, and I call it a phenomenon now. It was part of the thing was, I was isolated. Like I worked in a unit, and there was like almost 10 or 11 people in there, and I was one of the only ones that was in that situation. The other office next to me, which was part of it. See, I think part of it was they really wanted you to feel isolated and alone, and I did for the longest time.
Yeah.
And I actually had other people coming to me and saying, what is your end game in all of this? Why are you not just taking the vaccine? Or,
Like other officers.
yeah, officers and civilian people that I worked with, and I was
So
like,
did you see that as support or no?
no, that's coercion. that's like, that's bullying in the rawest form, right? That's
Right.
really intimidation.
Yeah.
And I'm going like, I'm not trying to prove anything here. I just know that I'm not taking this.
And
Period.
was there supervisors higher than you questioning you about that?
Oh yeah, my
wow.
direct commander,
Really?
who was a civilian at the time, he would say, well, this isn't like you, Jason. Why are you, you're whatever. We went through these personality things on one of these things. And he says, oh, this is who you are. And I says, well, I don't care who that thing says I am. I'm not taking this thing.
So they were telling you, they were trying to tell you.
This is unlike you.
were.
This isn't your character. And
Right.
I'm like, how do you know my
They were
character?
evaluating you for you.
Yes, absolutely.
So, and did you feel like, well, first of all, you were isolated, but were you really alone? How many others? Like, did you have other
And that was
brothers and
interesting,
sisters
and I believe this is how God works, is he brings people together, because I happened to have a conversation with somebody downstairs, and all of a sudden we clicked, and he says, hey, there's a whole group of us. We're on Signal, and we've got, so it was
Wow.
like,
Thank
you
goodness.
mean I'm not alone in all this? Like, really, you thought you were fighting this battle. And here, all of a sudden, now I'm connected with all of these other people who are going through, in different divisions or ranks or whatever, going through the same thing.
Yeah.
But now we're together, and at least we've got some support, right?
Exactly. Wow.
You know?
And were they all axed as well as you were?
Pardon me?
Were they all like let go as well as you were?
No, and what ended up happening was, I think there was at the time, there was over 100 of us. And I think
Out
there's
of how many?
1,600 on the service at that time. So over 100 of us that were reluctant, didn't get it, weren't disclosing, whatever you want to call it. And over the time, like, people are all in different family positions, they need their income, so they were coerced, and many of them were coerced into now going and taking the job to keep their job.
Right.
A bunch of us were put on that unpaid leave and couldn't afford to, to be off, right? They got daycare and they got responsibilities, right?
Mortgage payments?
Yes, absolutely. So a lot of them, we had people coming on and literally breaking down crying, saying like, I've been forced to take this, and because I need my job, right?
Yeah.
And Chris, through my history with the service, I have been involved in criminal matters, both on the job, charged internally, and charged externally. And I've never, in any of those situations, been put on unpaid leave.
Right.
You were always put on paid administrative leave. The city would hold, or the service would hold a hearing and decide whether that should continue. And depending on the seriousness, they would keep you on. But never was I put on unpaid leave
So
until...
this was an intent to punish.
Oh, yeah,
And
absolutely.
And in your any other instances before that, I know for a fact we always had a strong union. The Winnipeg Police Association always would represent its people through thick and thin.
Yes.
Very good. And at this time, you would no doubt call the police association. What happened there?
Of course, now we've got this group, so we contacted the association, and they flat out said, "Well, you can write up what you'd like, but we're in agreement with the city's services policy." As a matter of fact, I heard through the grapevine that they actually helped the city develop the policy.
Wow.
So if that's not a conflict of interest in itself,
A little bit.
okay, not to mention that our prior president of the association is living common law with an inspector on the service, which makes things interesting. And ironically, the head of the, and I'm going to call it the COVID task force within the service, is married to the past president of the association.
Right.
So
Mm.
it's interesting how the politics work.
Yeah.
So basically the union...
So the left hand definitely knows what the right hand is doing.
Absolutely.
There you go. Yeah.
So basically, the union's rebuttal was, we've gone to our lawyers, and he said, the chances of us winning these cases are not good, so we're not going to support you.
Oh.
And that's what they told a whole bunch
So
of
we're
us.
not going to support you.
No.
But we're only going to support you if you win.
Yes.
If we can get a slam dunk, we'll support you.
Absolutely.
Do you think now, the way you were treated, that if they could have got a slam dunk, they would have supported you?
Probably. Yeah. And ironically, we just received an email within the last couple of weeks that we have a new president there and new people, and they're now revisiting the possibility of submitting a grievance on our behalf.
Why do you think that's happening now?
Because I think the truth is being exposed.
Right.
And I think that there's more and more truths coming out regarding what this actually is and has been about. And now I think their butts are puckering a little bit.
And what would that grievance be?
Well, based on the fact that the sharing of our personal health information, okay,
Right.
because this is where, and it's funny because I actually went through my files and I wanted to bring this. This is actually the statement of commitment for respectful workplace that the police service posts everywhere. And if you read it, feel free to read it out loud. What I experienced during this COVID was the worst case of discrimination I'd ever
Yeah.
Right.
experienced.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I was told, okay, when I was put off on unpaid leave, in order to come back, once I agreed to taking their educational log, I had to come in and complete this on COVID and what it meant, okay?
Oh. Did you learn anything you didn't already know on that?
No, it was complete propaganda. The next thing was I had to agree to masking the entire time I was within the police headquarters and testing every 48 hours.
Testing.
Yes.
What kind of
Every
test?
48 hours.
Every 48 hours. So I was currently on Monday to Friday. So that means that, and I had to do it on my own time. So Monday morning I'd have to wake up. Now they supplied the tests, but here's where the coercion and the threats came in. Was there was actually things saying that, okay, we're going to provide you with the first box of tests, but after that you're now going to have to purchase them yourselves out of pocket.
Oh,
Oh yes. Oh yes. Okay. And prior to the November 15th thing, they were giving us masks to wear in the building, and graciously they provided us with some Tough Duck ones made here in Winnipeg
Right.
that were cloth.
Right.
Okay, because I'd already known about all the stuff they were putting in the other ones.
Right.
You know, and how they were affecting people. So I had the ability to wear a cloth one. Well, partway through this, once I agreed to come back to work, they said, "Oh no, you can't wear the cloth one anymore. You have to wear this N1." And it was specified, and it was the blue one that was causing the health problems.
Right.
So I went to my commander and I said, okay, you're now ordering me to wear this mask. I'm not comfortable with that. So I would wear my cloth one under it and then wear the blue one over top.
Oh my goodness.
So that I was still in compliance
So that
with
you
their
can't
orders.
breathe.
Otherwise, I would be sent home immediately on unpaid leave again. Now, the other thing was, before I came back, I got a phone call from the manager of HR and the staff sergeant in HR.
Sorry, what do you mean before you came back?
Before I agreed to the masking and,
I
and
see,
the testing, okay? I got a call out of the blue on my cell phone, and they're on a conference call, so they blindsided me.
right.
Yeah.
And they said, yeah, we understand you've agreed to come back to work. But we had provided, before being sent, I provided them with a notice of liability, as well as,
Okay, yep.
what do you call this thing here? It was another document given to my commander, the chief of police and everything, right? To cease and desist, basically. So based on some of the wording in here, which was written by lawyers, by the way, they said that they didn't feel I was mentally stable to come
Oh,
back to
mentally
work.
stable.
Based on what was in here. And they wanted me to go for a psych evaluation prior to coming back to work. And if I wasn't a veteran guy who's been through the shit a little
Yeah,
bit,
yeah.
I said to them, we're not going down this bunny trail.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not happening. So they agreed to allow me to come back. But the way the testing works was you had to test every 48 hours. So with me being a Monday to Friday guy, that would mean Monday morning I'd have to get up at home, do my at-home test, okay? Come into work beforehand, log on to the city service computer system, provide my results with a picture of the test result to the HR thing in order to start my day. Okay, that would have to be performed. But once a week, I would have to go to a city facility, which was on William Avenue, and have a monitored test on my own time. So that would mean getting up at 7 o'clock, driving over, going in, and it was some very nice people in there, injured bus driver, whatever it was, but they had to physically monitor us to make sure we were doing the test properly and then monitor our results.
So what I find so interesting is that not only are you a standalone guy and the few others to say, no, this isn't right, I can't do this. Then they begin to put pressure on you systematically.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
it's one thing to stand up for your rights and say, no, I don't, this is not right, and here's all the documentation, et cetera, et cetera. Lawyers' letters, the respectful workplace statement of commitment. One thing you have to say there. And then you're saying, there's so many proofs, there's so many reasons why you shouldn't have to be forced into this. But then systematically, it's like they're making the rules up, they're changing, you're being backed into a corner systematically, and the pressure's on pressure. So it's like they're trying to
break us.
And so what I'm trying to say, they're trying to break you. So what I'm trying to say is that you can see how so many people who probably wouldn't have wanted to do it, they're not up for this. They're not up for all the pressure. People have pressures in their families. They have relational pressures outside of the workplace. So this is not only in the police force, for example, any corporation, any place where people they just want to live their lives. They want to feed their families. They want to go on. So not only does it take a lot to stand up for your nuance, for your rights, and for saying no, this is. Systematically, then additional pressures are put on to crush people, to crush them, and to
Chris can attest to this. In our police training, we spend 6 months at the academy. The Charter of Rights and Freedoms is huge. Like, we are given the position in society to remove your rights. If you've broken the law, we actually have that. They give us that ability.
Right.
So here is my own service trampling on mine.
Yes. Right.
With no
justification.
No justification, and that's what I wanted to talk about a little bit. Was we never got the rest of us in the public. We never got any data other than it's safe and effective. Just do it. Did you guys get any data? Was there any kind of science came out that you were made aware of that we weren't made aware of? Nothing.
No.
So you never knew anything. But
it became policy and a mandate, and
policy mandate. Boom, stamped. Now, the other thing was when they suggested you go for psychiatric evaluation. Do you know of other members who got that same?
Yes,
order?
Actually, and
probably
sadly,
they went
members,
because they were junior.
And yes, they had to go and see. And I don't remember if it was the police psychologist or if they had to go to a third party to be deemed fit to come back to work. So it was another hoop that they made these people jump through. Right.
Oh my gosh! I'm so glad you're telling us this because we didn't know this.
And you know what? I want to refer to this because what happened?
Go ahead.
The union shuts us down and says we're not going to represent you. So then we're told we need to make a labor board complaint with the province. So we do that. Everybody that's in our group submits these. Those were rejected by the province.
On any grounds?
Saying that you have a union. They're supposed to represent you. Really?
Yes, they are.
Yeah. Right. So. Of course, that
was that
down.
not your complaint?
Yes, but they said because you have a union, they're supposed to represent you. So,
where's the union?
Yeah, it's like here's the cart, here's the horse. Which are we putting ahead of each other? Right. So,
wow.
But like disrespectful workplace. This was redone in May of 2018, and it says the Winnipeg Police Service recognizes its responsibility to build and maintain a respectful workplace where all employees enjoy an environment free of behaviors such as unlawful discrimination, harassment, disruptive workplace conflict, disrespectful behavior, and violence in the workplace.
And you had nothing but harassment on this. I mean, there was no
and disrespectful behavior.
Canadian and Manitoba courts have stated that an employer has a responsibility to provide a safe and healthy work environment, free from harassment and discrimination. And it just got worse because it was like I would have supervisors coming in and spot checking me, and I always carried my Voss water bottle with me. I'm known as the Voss guy around work. Because I knew the lemon water, helped you with COVID, right? So now that I'm masked the entire time, so one of my supervisors walks in, and now I'm in a cubicle inside an area. So we're already 6 feet apart. The next guy's in the next cubicle, right? So as she comes around the corner, I had removed my mask to take a sip of my water. Well, I was now in breach.
Busted.
Okay. I was now in breach. And she went back and reported to the civilian.
Wow.
Who then sent me up to see the principal in HR. I was like a kid being sent to the principal's office, who at the time showed me how to properly just pull my mask down and then drink from it without removing it. But he did it 3 times.
Oh, so what did you do? You took it off your ear?
I took it off my ear and had it hanging so I could...
What were you thinking?
How awkward is that?
Well,
James, who would know?
Yeah.
No, exactly. So it was like, again, it was just that they belittle you.
Insane.
Belittle you.
Yeah, right.
And I was
And
told
they might-
again, like,
then
if I
they-
don't follow this and I'm caught doing it, we're sending you home on unpaid leave
Wow.
again. And I'm like,
And all of that, we talked about no justification. Like no actual, okay, the science. Nobody laid anything out.
But here's the biggest thing, okay? So I'm in a unit with, say, 10 or 11 other people, okay?
Yeah.
That have declared, okay? So they're free to walk around without a mask.
Oh, they
Or-
don't even have to wear masks.
No. Only the people that didn't declare or said they were not vaccinated now had to wear the mask. So, but I'm also testing. So I'm testing every 48 hours and I am showing a
Wow.
negative to come to work. So actually I'm the safest person in that
Yes.
So to speak.
They're not
because
testing.
they don't know if they're carrying because you can be carrying it and be sick without symptoms. So if they're not testing, but I'm having to test, it was completely backwards.
Yeah.
Completely backwards.
Wow.
And yeah, so
So did many other people leave at the same time as you or around that time? During this, people that didn't disclose.
right.
Did a lot of people just leave? Like,
I wouldn't know numbers offhand,
Oh,
but
okay.
I know of a few people I've got to know personally.
Yeah.
A couple of younger guys actually resigned over it.
yeah,
Civilian and police side.
Yeah.
Some stayed off on unpaid leave as long as they could. And like I said, ended up taking the vax under threat of...
Oh, really?
Yes, under threat of, you're going to lose your... Like, we're keeping you off.
oh, not fear of COVID.
No.
Wow.
And you know, that was the ironic thing. Like, immediately when they walked you out of the building, your pass was done, you couldn't get into the building, and your benefits were cut, like your health,
That's kind of
your
like getting
pension.
fired.
It was. I was dismissed.
You were dismissed.
They call it constructive dismissal. Well, that's what they did, right?
See, then we talked about this a little bit off camera. The whole idea of how you actually got into police work in the first place. When you had mentioned at the beginning of the interview, it was a calling. Now, this whole contrasting thing. When you're 6 or 8 years old, you wanted to be of service. You enjoyed being a
Wanna help
patrol,
people.
a
You wanna
patrol,
help
right?
people. You wanna help people, yeah.
as
That's
a-
why most people
Yeah.
become policemen or doctors or
Right.
fire and ambulance. It's
Right.
all that helping profession.
So
right?
here it is in you to want to do
Yeah.
this job. It's you know, if you can almost say it's an altruistic. It's a thing that you want to give. You want to
Right.
give to society. That's
Yeah.
what you want to. So here you are doing this, and then all of a sudden comes along this situation that has no basis. It's fear mongering. It's propaganda. There's no the facts. There are no facts because the rules are changing constantly. They're backing you into a corner. You who want to be of service, you chose a career to do that. You're basically arm wrestled into being, you know, you're a disobedient person. HR, you're the bad guy.
Yep.
You're the bad guy when why you wanted to be in this in the first place is to help to be of
Right.
service, and you're backed into a corner and forced to leave as a result of it.
Yep.
I mean, it is nonsensical, insane,
Right.
and downright evil at every turn.
Well, I was blessed, okay, that I had the numbers to be able to retire last April, okay?
Yeah, I was just going to ask you about
But that wasn't planned either. Like, I still had 2.5 more years within my unit, and I was willing to stay there. I loved the guys. I loved the job I was doing. But what they did was, January, we have our transfer policy, right? To set up for the April transfers, like, you know, and I didn't expect to be transferred. I had 2.5 more years there. And I could have put in for a retirement extension
Right.
in your last year.
Yeah.
You can write a special to the chief of police and ask to stay, because if you're going to retire in the next year, they'll keep you where you are. So out of the blue, I get a call from HR and we're transferring you. I'm like, well, I'm not due for transfer. And they're like, yeah, well, no, yeah, you're good to go back on the street, and we're transferring you back to the street in the North End, back to working night shift again.
And you got how many years on at this point?
33.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you got 33 years on. What is the average retirement years of service for most police officers?
Well, the average years of service is about 27.
Yeah.
Okay. And
So you were well over.
Yeah, and the average
the
age
average.
is 53. So I was
Yeah.
53 when I actually retired, but well beyond.
Yeah.
You know, almost 7 years longer than the average.
Right.
Right.
Okay. Just wanted to make that point.
Yeah, but it.
So anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. So yeah, and then I approached my commander and I said, okay, look, I'm going to put my letter in, my retirement exemption letter for transfer to stay the extra year. He says, we're not going to accept that from you.
Just like that.
Yeah,
Another
just like
arbitrary
that.
thing.
Yeah, just
Boom.
and I never heard of them declining that for anybody. Like it was almost a given, right? And he says, well, nothing's a given. And so basically they forced me to retire. And I believe it was
When was that? When was that?
That was just in April.
Just like a year ago.
A year ago.
Yeah, okay. 22.
And you know what? It's turned out to be a blessing because with everything going on in the world, I've done nothing but traveling now. And you know, Chris and I have become very good friends and getting involved with so many people that we've gotten to meet. It is a blessing.
So you're still able to do your calling in that helping people and using your expertise.
And you know
who knows what the future holds,
and you know what? Absolutely. Like even when I was at work, I was telling the guys about the information coming out on the masks and how unhealthy they were. Like I had chronic colds because I was muzzled.
Yeah.
The entire time I was in that place. 8
Breathing
hours
in your
a
own
day.
carbon dioxide.
And run down. By the end of the day, like 1 o'clock would come around, I was exhausted. Mm-hmm. And you know why? Because you're breathing.
Yeah.
That's not normal.
No.
A lot of respiratory issues happen.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. So now, how has that affected relationships? Because I know you had a lot of good relationships with fellow officers, fellow retired officers that went on to other government jobs and such. How's that gone? Has it been, have you had any contact, or
I think it's
people blackballed you and that was it?
Yeah, I think it's the same whether it's your family, your profession, whatever. There's those that are awake to what's going on and those that aren't. And it's created an incredible division in people everywhere. You know, but there's, and the thing is, you always want to try and help people. We know this information is factual and we try and share it with them, but you can't force people to want to hear it, right?
No.
Can I ask you, actually, and I hope I'm not jumping you too much here, Chris. The division thing is a big deal. And it's, like you said, in every facet of society and families.
Divide and conquer.
Yeah. But what do you think, just in short, and it's not a short answer, actually, but what can be done to now start rebuilding the relationships, work relationships, family relationships? What are some of the essential building blocks, do you think, to bring that back?
I think we are, and it's funny that they were calling us conspiracy theorists for the longest time, and now they call us coincidence theorists because a lot of the things we were talking about are now coming true, right?
Coincidence theorist.
Right. So
I haven't heard that.
I haven't either.
Oh my gosh! Of course, they got to change definitions and terms and whatnot.
Being a Christian, they say to us now that our role is to continue to educate ourselves, do what we can. To fight for what is right, and also be available and willing to, when somebody decides or they start to wake up, to be there to support them, because you know what, these people have been tricked. Mm-hmm. They've been lied to.
Yeah.
And for a while I was angry with them because I thought, like, why am I awake and seeing this, but they're not?
How can you not see this?
And then I read a study where a psychologist or a psychiatrist did it, and he said that 80% of the human population is not capable of critical thinking. And it was like,
whoops,
I got it. Okay, they're not capable of it. It's not their fault. And it changed the whole, it was kind of an us, because at that point it was like, I'm over here and you're over there. Well,
what are you
now
guys doing?
We're not enemies, but we're against each other.
Yeah, different sides.
We're not.
Yeah.
Right?
So don't you think, as you're saying that, it makes me think, I think an important part of the healing is for people that saw it from the beginning or came around early on to not have an attitude or even say, I told you so.
Absolutely. Or judge them for it. Or judge them for it, right? And they say now that just to be available to these people when they come around or start to come around, because I know my own sister, like we were talking about people choosing that route and that's their belief. Well, those people have always also influenced other people, like their own children. So when they start to wake up, what are they going to to
Yeah.
Well, they're going to feel traumatized.
Yeah, I've been tricked.
So
I've led my kids into this, right?
So really, you have to treat them like a trauma victim, because the scope of this damage is traumatic for them. If they believe it, it's easier, and it's a defense mechanism to not believe it, to just double down on no, that's not possible. And
my mom had a wonderful saying growing up. She said that ignorance is bliss. Mm-hmm. Well, I think that's where a lot of these people are living, is just in that, okay, I got my cars, I got my job, I can still go to work, the sheep,
If I don't identify it,
Yes.
then I'm better, it doesn't exist.
They're good
Yeah,
people.
I don't
They just
confront
want to
it.
go
Right.
to work and come
Yeah.
home and right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I remember my son was dating a girl during this
Right.
who'd been vaccinated, and she was sort of on the other side of things, and we were standing in her kitchen, and Ethan, my son's awake, so we were having an open, candid conversation about COVID and where we thought was happening. And she's a redhead, and I could see her kind of getting upset, like she was starting
Yeah.
to glow, right? And all of a sudden, she just slammed her hands on the island, and she said, "You guys need to stop right now.
Yeah.
I can't handle the truth."
Oh.
And it was like,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
That was a wow for me.
Sure. Yeah.
Because here Ethan and my son are having this conversation,
Wow.
which to us was
Just another
just
one.
another
Wow.
conversation.
Yeah.
But for her, she just said, "I can't handle the truth."
That was her being completely honest.
Absolutely.
was.
And we just
Yeah.
we didn't even realize how badly we were affecting her.
But she was saying what millions are feeling.
Yes.
And don't even want to admit, actually.
No.
And
no.
maybe
Yeah.
don't even know that
No.
that it's
Yes.
like an element in them
Yeah.
that they can't even
Yeah.
admit it.
Right.
It's funny. We both have the same buddy, and he's expressed disappointment in both of us. He's
Oh.
disappointed in both of us. So we aren't mad at him or anything. We love him. He's still our buddy. But we've discussed this at length, and we've recognized that he's afraid. Like he won't even listen to either one of us, and he's afraid of the truth.
Has he said to you those words, "I'm disappointed in you"?
Yeah, and then he texted it to Jason about 3 months after he told me. He texted, "I'm disappointed in you and Chris Riddell." I said, "What am I getting involved in this
Yeah.
for?"
Hey, leave me alone. Leave me out of
Yeah,
this.
it's crazy.
And he's somebody I consider a dear friend.
Yes, well, I've
But it's-
known him as
it's-
long as I've known you.
Yeah, it's
known
all fear-based.
Yeah.
They're living in complete fear. And, you
Yeah.
know, I don't know.
In fact, we discussed we should call him to sit down and gently help him through this trauma because he's a good buddy of
Right,
ours.
right.
Uh,
You know what? I'll tell you what. We're running out of time right now, but so we're going to wrap this up a little bit. So this is actually this whole idea of unity and how to actually support unity and what to do. I think this is another
think you're right.
important
Yeah,
subject for us to discuss. And how do we advance unity? I think a big part of it too is that whole got to drop the "I'm right, I was right,"
Right.
that
Yeah.
ego thing.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that. And I think it's a
Yeah.
very, very
No, that's
important thing
good.
to talk about.
Yeah.
So just to wrap it up, if you don't mind, I'm sorry. I'm kind of interested, just one last question. As this now starts rounding corner and legally speaking, do you think that yourself and other people who had your experience in the police force, that there is some recompense that could happen? Do you anticipate
vindication, yeah.
that? But even financially,
Oh, I
getting
see.
your retirement back and all of that.
Well, yeah, they call it constructive dismissal, right? Which is technically you were fired
Right.
and there should be a severance packet, you know, whatever
But
it
with
ends up
how
being.
this all shook down,
Yeah.
do you think that there's some hope to get it?
But that
reinstated?
opens another whole can of worms, right, about
Yeah.
our country itself. And like we have a lawsuit going with, we filed a class action lawsuit with Leighton Gray out of Alberta, and we've already been told that it's probably not going to fly because of the cases that are already being dismissed. And the problem being is that I'm getting into another whole can of worms
Yeah.
here, but our country itself,
Right.
the fact that our charter, I'm learning, has never actually been ratified. That our constitution,
Yeah.
that all of this, that Canada is a corporation and we're not actually a country.
yeah.
And I know that somebody
That's a
had
whole
said
other
that-
show.
That's another whole show, or a few shows.
Right.
Yeah.
But they say that the healthcare guy at the time, they call him Mussolini now or whatever, Rusin.
Rusin.
Yeah, Rusin.
He came out on one of his interviews.
Mussolini.
Yeah, Russolini. And he came out on one of his interviews apparently and said, yeah, none of your charter issues are going to go anywhere.
We got a lot of work to do, Jason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That he came out
Yeah.
and said that. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so here we're now paying money for these lawyers, and do I have faith in it? I'm proceeding with it, but I don't know
Right.
what
Yeah.
the outcome can be if there's any
Right.
repercussions or.
Well, I guess the bottom line right at this point is that we have to keep the tension on. This is not going to be a time, nor will it be in the future anytime soon, where we let go of the reins or relax.
Right.
Right.
This is like
No.
full speed ahead together.
I think we're here because we did let go of the reins years ago and
Right.
just allowed, we trusted people.
We've talked about that. This is why we have this webcast.
Right.
Because we didn't pay attention
Right.
for the last
Or we
30
just
years.
blindly trusted
Right.
that our politicians
Yeah.
were doing
Right.
the best for us.
Exactly. And that's why the name of our show is open-ended. What that means is ...
Yeah.
We're trying to disseminate, we're trying to open up the doors of information, trying to figure things out.
Yeah.
Anyway, we've
All
kept
right.
you for a while,
Yeah.
but boy, that was a great insight. Hey, Chris,
Yeah.
really great insight.
That was
And-
fantastic.
Yeah,
Thanks very much, Jay.
yeah.
You're
Thank you
welcome.
so
I
much.
hope it helps.
I'm
people
sure it does.
understand things better and that,
Absolutely.
you know.
To know what people in the police force
Yeah.
have. Look, the police, easy to criticize, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you guys have had, your share of that. But what folks have been through, that's really.
And that
good
goes,
to know.
I'll just put a little thing out there that goes for anybody on the service now that is starting to wake up and wants to talk. I'm here.
Please.
Yeah. Call me, pick up the
Right.
phone,
Please.
whatever.
Right.
No judgment,
No.
100%, and our web our email address as well.
Yeah.
And I know Chris is available too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If anybody needs to talk, this is a time for nobody should be alone.
Yeah.
No.
Absolutely. Yeah. And if you want to talk to Jason and you contact us, I mean you're open to
Yeah,
that
we'll
too.
put you-
Oh, absolutely.
Talk to Jason,
Yeah.
talk to Chris.
Yeah.
And that goes for even other services and
Yeah.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you, Jason.
Yeah.
Jason Garrett, Chris Riddell.
thank you.
This is Rose.
We usually high five.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. See you again. See you soon.
Thank you.
Anyway, thanks again. Take care. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.